Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So as you know, this is my book channel, so we're doing a monthly wrap up. So let's go ahead and just jump straight in. This month, I'm not going to lie, was a terrible month for reading. It was my birthday, it was my mother's birthday, and I'm making excuses, but I just wasn't really in the best reading mood. I kind of just wanted to read thrillers, but I know there's a lot more stuff on my TBR, so I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but it's leading to slumpy vibes. I'm really embarrassed to say, although at least I did read, so I shouldn't really be embarrassed, but this is not like me. I read 3 full books this month. I know, 3 full books, and 2 of them were on my Kindle, which was great. But let's go ahead and start with what I started off the month with, and I started reading The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton. This was a reread. I had read it back in, I want to say 2018. I can't be 100% sure, but it was either 2018 or 2019 that I picked this up. I've had it on my bookshelf ever since, but I didn't remember what the book was about. I remembered absolutely nothing. I looked at it and I was like, I kind of remember that she was a bit of a stalker, but I didn't remember the premise or anything like that. So this book is about our female character. Her name's actually Elizabeth, but she goes by Juliet now, and she has, her boyfriend of a couple of years broke up with her. His name is Nate, and he comes from a really wealthy, well-to-do family, and she just feels like she deserves that. She's gone through a lot in her life, and she deserves someone who will give her everything. So they end up breaking up. He's a pilot, and after the breakup, he just says he needs space. He kind of even just pays for an apartment and puts her in there and is like, please leave me alone. I need space. So in her mind, she was like, you know, all he needs is space. Once the space is done, he's gonna take me back open arms, because she's seen a couple of other girls that he's like kind of hooked up with because she follows him. She also visits his apartment while he's not there because he's a pilot. So she becomes an air hostess and ends up working for the same airline as he does. Because he's a pilot, I work in the yachting industry, it can get a bit messy. So he just sleeps with girls in different area codes because he can, and he was single. So she becomes an air hostess. One day she actually asks or requests to go onto the same flight plan as he's on, and they end up running into each other. She takes matters into her own hands and she will not take no for an answer. It was really thrilling. It made me giggle, but it ended on an open-ended ending, and for me, that's not enough. I can't deal with that. I need to know what happened, why it happened, where everybody is now, and I love me an epilogue. Like, I want to know, but this left everything up to you, so you don't know where it ended up. So she like coerces him into doing things that he doesn't want to do, so you kind of just want to know where things ended up, but that doesn't give you that closure. So I gave this a 3-star. Next, I read The X on my Kindle by Frida McFadden. You know, if you're in a slump and you pick up a Frida McFadden, chances are it's going to get you out the slump. So I was very, very, very excited to read this book because, I don't know, I was almost said Colleen Hoover. Frida McFadden, just like, her books are very fast-paced, very easy to follow, and I just love the thrill of it. Although the twists are always a little bit like underwhelming, but it's still really entertaining. So I feel like this premise of the book was very similar to The Perfect Girlfriend, as I mentioned before. It kind of follows, I can't remember what the guy's name is now. I can't remember, but it follows the main male character, and he meets a new girl named Cassie. She works in a bookstore. She inherited this bookstore, and there's a backstory about something that was illegal that her and her grandparents did in order to keep the shop afloat, but she doesn't want to do that anymore, so she's really struggling. She got her best friend to invest in it. So now the bookstore is based close to a resident hospital, so there's lots of doctors and students there, and they all come into the used bookstore thinking that she'll have medical books because it's so close to a medical training hospital. Why wouldn't you? Anyway, a doctor walks in and he ends up looking for a book, and she's like, we don't have medical books. And he's like, actually, I'm not looking for a medical book, I'm looking for Wuthering Heights. So instantly that sparks her interest, because that was her favorite book, her grandparents' favorite book, and their romance, her grandparents' romance was the same. So she's really taken aback by it. He ends up asking on a date, but then things start going weird and wrong, and someone brings up his ex-girlfriend, and he gets so pale and flustered, and then you switch point of views and it's the exes. But there's multiple exes that we don't realize in this book. So Cassie's going through the motions, trying to figure out what happened to this ex-girlfriend and why he won't talk about her. And it's just a bunch of back and forth. But the ex-girlfriend is really, really psycho, and she's kind of stalking and terrorizing Cassie, or so we think. I don't know. I really did like this. It was very thrilling. It kept me entertained. It brought me out of my slump, and I just wanted to keep reading after it. So I gave this one, I opened it. So I gave this a 4-star. I really did enjoy it, and I just love Freida McFadden books. I don't love all of them. I've read one that I didn't like, and I've downloaded the Last Housemaid book. I can't remember what it's called, but the Last Housemaid book, and I've heard such bad things about it. I'm terrified to read it, but I even like The Teacher, which everybody else despised, but I thought it was really good. And then the last book I completed was The Orphanage by the Lake by Daniel G. Miller. Again, I really did enjoy this book. It was very thrilling. It was more like a mystery investigation type of book. So we have our main female character who is a private investigator, and she's investigating a missing orphan, but we find out that this girl's not really an orphan, but her parents are horrible, or her grandparents are horrible, so she's put away in the school, and girls have been disappearing from the school for many years. For some reason, everybody, including myself in the beginning of the book, was pointing the fingers at the principal, and there's a lot of other characters that just come across really weird. There's some corrupt cops. Everything points you in one direction. Meanwhile, there's so much happening in the background. Our main female character, Hazel, very insecure. She comes from a Korean family, so everybody's doctors or lawyers, and she ended up being a private investigator, which is quite frowned upon because her parents don't see it as her being successful. So she lives in this dingy apartment. She got an office to work out of, and when she gets this case, she gets offered a lot of money that she can't turn it down. And this woman is very demanding, and she wants updates every 48 hours, and she's very condescending. She's really rude, but Hazel really needs this money, so she perseveres and actually gets the job done. And when you find out at the end of it what the reason and cause of all the disappearances was, it's sick, it's twisted, it's maybe not with all the smart, but it's Haunting Adeline-esque with that storyline without the stalking and the smut. But really good, really enjoyed it. I think I want to try and read a couple more books by Daniel G. Miller. I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4-star as well. So 2 4-stars and a 3-star this month, which was really good. But unfortunately, we had a DNF as well. So this is The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I honestly still don't know who the ghostwriter is of this. I don't even know if it says, but I haven't been able to figure that out. So I got to page 133, and unfortunately I put this book down. It was too chaotic. I just couldn't follow a storyline. She didn't write it in the sense that it's in follows in sequential order. When she was little, this happened, then this age, then this age. It's kind of all over the place, and it's how you speak. Sometimes if we're talking about a subject and something else pops into your head and you just say that in a conversation, everybody's like, huh? How is that even relevant? And that's how I felt in this book. It was so frustrating. I'm like, where's this coming from? Why? It's she has Tourette's and just throws in random pieces of information that for me wasn't relevant in the story. I didn't enjoy the way it was written. It felt kind of like a journal entry, but even a journal entry would have the date and what happened that day, where this is just, it's all over the place. And I know a lot of people are on her side, but it happened such a long time ago. Like, people change, people grow, and people move on, but I feel like she never did in this book. And no hate to her, I love her music, but I just didn't like the way this was written. No hate to her story or anything like that, but it just wasn't written in a coherent way that makes sense for me. So unfortunately I had to DNF it. And then this month, in the last week, which was still June, I picked up Daisy Hates by Jessa Hastings, and I am about halfway through it. I'm on page 215. I just thought I'd pop this in here. I'm doing a full reading vlog. This has taken me a whole week to get to page 215. I really loved Magnolia Parks. I gave it a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed that book. But Daisy Hates just seems like a watered down version of Magnolia Parks. So I don't know. I'm not clicking with this book. I feel like there's a lot of toxicity in it as well, but it's not done in the same way. And I feel like because Daisy's meant to be in like part of mafia / gang lord world, they try to take her character out of that, but still she has elements of that. And the way she's like always flirting with cops, and then she feels like she's in love with Christian, but then she sleeps with her ex-boyfriend, and it's like, enough, can we just grow up? Come on, I know you're wealthy, but surely you are intelligent. You're studying medicine. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not enjoying it at all. Some of the keys, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Let me try and zoom. I think you can see that, but this is a key, and that's the text of the page, and then that's a key. So you're telling me I have to read here, see the key number, go down here, read that. Read again, go down there, refer back. I'm not reading a textbook, and that's what it feels like. And it's frustrating. But anyway, that's it from me, guys. That's kind of what June looks like. Hopefully I'll have a better July. I do have some new books and a lot of thrillers, so it's winter and I just can't wait to get stuck in. Did also change my hair. Hope you like it. Let me know down below in the comments, but I will see you all in my next video, which will be a reading vlog, and Daisy Hates will be in there and a couple other books. Hint, hint. But yeah, I'll see you all in my next one. Have a great week, guys. Bye.